When everyone's working together, but only a few benefit, you start to wonder, is there a better way to organize society? That's exactly what socialism tries to answer, so welcome to Socialism Explained through Minecraft. Imagine a Minecraft village. Well, you don't have to imagine too hard. There it is. Looks peaceful, right? But take a closer look. See that guy? That's John. He owns everything. The factories, the shop, even the cookie stand. Everyone in the village works for him, and because of that, John's living large. Diamond armor, golden apples, a castle on the hill. Meanwhile, the villagers, they're barely scraping by. One day, they start asking questions. Why does John get rich from our work? Why are we poor while he relaxes in luxury? Discontent spreads, until finally, a revolution. The workers rise up, overthrow the old system, and take control. Now, instead of one rich owner or a distant government, the village is run by a council, elected by the people. That council owns the farms, shops, and factories, not for profit but supposedly for everyone's benefit. That's the basic idea behind socialism. The people, through the state, owning and managing things together. But here's the thing, kids. Just because the state says it works for the people doesn't always mean it actually does, and that's where things get complicated. But let's go beyond the village metaphor for a moment. It's a bit too simplified. Socialism isn't just one thing, there are many different forms and we'll get into those later, but first, let's define what socialism actually is. Socialist ideas emerged in reaction to the Enlightenment liberalism. Free market liberalism championed minimal government intervention, but the Industrial Revolution exposed its flaws. Factory owners grew wealthy, while workers endured long hours and unaffordable housing. This inequality sparked calls for a fairer system. So, what does socialism actually propose? At its core, socialism says the economy shouldn't just work for a tiny group at the top. It should work for everyone. The goal isn't to make everyone exactly equal, it's to make things fair and give people more democratic control over their lives. That means public ownership of essential services like healthcare, education, transport, and energy, so those profits go back to the people, not just private investors. It also means workplace democracy, where employees actually have a voice in how things are run, not just orders from the top. It also means basic rights guaranteed like housing, healthcare, education, and fair wages, not left to chance or family wealth, and redistributing wealth through progressive taxes and strong safety nets to reduce extreme inequality. In short, socialism says if you're helping build society, you should have a real say in how it works and a fair share of what it creates. When people hear socialism, they often think of Marxist-Leninist models like the Soviet Union or Cuba, where the state owns everything and one party controls it all. It promised equality but often meant censorship and authoritarian rule. But there's also democratic socialism that takes a different path, combining democracy with public ownership of key sectors like healthcare and energy. It's not about tweaking capitalism, it wants to rethink who owns the economy without giving up political freedom. Then there's social democracy, like Sweden or Norway, where capitalism stays but with a strong safety net, universal healthcare, education, and high taxes to reduce inequality. It doesn't replace the system, just make it fairer. And of course, socialism can go wrong. Venezuela started with good intentions, poverty dropped, healthcare improved, but over time power centralized, corruption spread, and the economy collapsed, not because of the idea, but because of poor execution. So, is socialism the answer? Sometimes it depends on who's running it and how.